Oh, that's a great sound, isn't it? James Johnson, Raised Like That. And see you before that, Nirvana coming up in the music, and also for King and Country and Finding Faith's Joy to the World. It is a great sound here, the Christmas carols continuing on the flow. All right, let's have a look at this story about our tertiary access payment being given to new nominated areas. And this is a $3,000 to $5,000 payment for up to 9,000 additional tertiary students. They've nominated these locations. Now, I don't know whether, when the federal government picked these locations, whether it includes other areas around that location, or whether they're just like a hot spot that they've just chosen and picked out of a hat, or whether it means that anywhere beyond that particular town would be regional remote. But the tertiary access payment is a payment of between $3,000 and $5,000, depending on how far you are from the university or the vocational training that you are doing. The federal government's expanded this scheme. It's interesting they're expanding this scheme just before the next election, but it is that the nominated areas are really intriguing. This is to help, say, a school leaver who then goes into a university placement or a TAFE college the next year, have to move from their country town to do it. So it's a good scheme. In that sense, it helps, say, somebody more isolated to be able to access education. Now, if you're coming from the APY lands, or if you're out in, let's say, Ceduna or somewhere, when you look at this down in the southeast at Bordertown, you might say, well, yeah, that's a fair way out, and that these grants would be a good thing. But Bridget McKenzie's announced that Kapunda in South Australia's Barossa region is one of these new inner regional centres. Now, I can tell you, by having worked out of Kapunda for 13 years, that Kapunda is just 80 kilometres away from the GPO of Adelaide. Now, most people that go to a course or a uni or so forth will come from Kapunda and travel down. Now, if they settle down in Adelaide, they'll do so at their own choice, but could potentially go to university from Kapunda. There is universities, for instance, at Roseworthy, just 25 kilometres away. I mean, you get the point here, don't you? How did Kapunda get on the list? And Tony Passon, who is the member for Barker, why did that town get selected? We're going to ask those questions. But listen to these. Rockhampton, Toowoomba. Now, these places have their own universities, for goodness sake. I mean, it's amazing that they're now on the list for relocation. Benalla and Shepparton in Victoria, and Albury Wodonga. Now, let me put something to you here. The Senator, Bridget McKenzie, has her offices in the Goulburn Valley and in Wodonga. Is this a coincidence of any sort here? The Regionalisation Minister having a tertiary access payment fund for students in the cities of Shepparton and Albury Wodonga to now be able to access to go to university. I mean, am I reading this right? This is extraordinary. The only one that I can read on the list that truly, to me, is more isolated is Cootamundra in the Riverina of New South Wales. Cootamundra is not that far from Wagga Wagga, but you may be doing a course that isn't available at Wagga Wagga. I'd reckon that it'd be hard to find something that wasn't available in that near vicinity. I'm sure that would be medical school and those things that you may be having to go down to Sydney for, and that could be a good reason for that relocation fee. So the leg up, she calls it. This payment gives students a leg up as opposed to the inner city areas. These students get a leg up, and the funding provides them with the reassurance that the support is available to make a decision to continue their tertiary education because the cost of relocation is made easier. I tell you what, now Bridget McKenzie's was up for sports rorts, if you remember, on her own gun club. And now the area where she, with her senatorship, she's a national senator, where she calls home, Shepparton and Wodonga, gets these tertiary access payments. Anyway, have I read too much into it?